Opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WHNZ AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the second hour of That Business Show, now with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Also, learn more about this program over at tampabayradio.com. Over there, if you head over to the show info button, you can find the shows available on demand and also see all the guests that have come through this program, as we're probably nearing around 1,000 guests. So they're all documented over on tampabayradio.com with a short bio of the guests. And if you click on their show cards, you can see the YouTube videos of their interviews as well, along with a copy of the blog. So good resource for learning about the Tampa Bay community over there at tampabayradio.com. And again, I want to remind people of the Business Symposium on October 28th. Again, today is the last day for the 2-event-for-1 pricing. If you buy a ticket to the symposium, we have an event at the Tampa Club tonight from 6 to 9. So tickets available over on the website tampabayradio.com. They are $39 and $59 for non-TBBO members. That price does include lunch. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest for this segment. It's Tech Thursdays on That Business Show. Nick Paris, CEO of Alpha Computing Solutions, is in studio with us. Learn more about him throughout the discussion, alphacomputing.com. Nick, welcome to the program.
Jamie, Kelly, thank you.
What is this, 16th edition of
yeah, we're getting up there. Yeah,
up there.
Absolutely.
Time flies. I noticed when you come in on Thursday, it's like, what he just did? It just seems like the time just keeps flying by. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we're talking about communication today. So number one, make sure to communicate with your employees and your clients upon hiring or upon initiation of the agreement. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. So sort of the theme for today is communicate. I've been in sort of dealing with my clients lately, have been hearing stories and trying to help them out with respect to the communication. And I'm finding kind of a general theme, and it's one of those things that I think that, in today's business environment, there really is no reason for not communicating. We sort of talked on this a little bit last time when we were saying that technology has sort of kept us from communicating the way we used to. And while the technology has allowed us to be able to communicate easier in that we can email faster and so on and so forth, I'm finding that we're still not communicating. So let me give you an example. One is that we had at one of my clients, one of the paralegals moved on, and she wiped her browsing history and all her passwords. Well, that was, you would have thought, okay, except that there were some websites that were what the firm needed to get onto, and she was one of the few people that was able to get onto these websites, and the password was cached in her browser. Mm-hmm. So the next thing you know, now we're scrambling to try to find out how do we get on there. We had to reset the password and so on and so forth. And had they had an employee handbook, that she had to sign, then it would have been clear that that was a no-no. That when you leave, the technology kind of reverts back to the owner, and we'll do with it as we need. So it's not up to you, the employee, when you leave, to go ahead and wipe whatever you think you need to wipe off of there.
What do you recommend for password managers? I like RoboForm myself. Is that advisable? Is there any security issues?
I've been using RoboForm, lately, the last 3 months, and I like it. My wife uses it, and she has some issues with some of the websites that she goes to because they don't do passwords the way that most websites do. But for the most part, for me,
if the website
I haven't had a problem.
If the website uses Flash, RoboForm doesn't like it, and RoboForm doesn't work with the new Edge browser just yet. Hopefully they'll fix that, but that's why I still have to use Google
There's
Chrome.
That, and there's KeyPass. KeyPass is another good one. But it was just more the fact that the business didn't communicate to their employee what are the expectations, A, when you come on board, and B, when you exit.
Right.
And I think that was really really key for them. The other sort of issue that I've had come up with a client lately is dealing with vendors. They kind of went with a handshake sort of agreement with a vendor, and that just didn't work out. And, not that can't, but I really find that if you document stuff as you're going along and before you actually get into an agreement with somebody to have them start working for you, it really is good to put on paper at least, hey, this is kind of the stuff that I'm expecting you to do. And there really is no reason not to do that. And again, if you document, it's one of those things that you're able to come back later and say, no, this is what I expected of you. I mean, if you feel like you're not doing that or you feel like you need to do something else, that's not what we agreed to. And so it really is important, I believe, to make sure that in those two basic areas, employees and vendors that work with you, you really need to document and make sure that, you have that stuff down on paper.
I was going to say earlier about communication, because you want to communicate, but you don't always know how. Sometimes communication, it's not easy because you don't exactly know how to communicate or what to say. But I guess it's like trial and error. When you had the experience with the person that left and wiped out a browser, now you know. You know you need to communicate that. But sometimes ahead of time, you don't know that you should have told her that.
No, and that's where you kind of need to lean on professionals. Mm-hmm. When I go into an office for a firm, that's one of the first things I say is, do you have an employee handbook? Do you have an acceptable use policy? Because if you don't have an acceptable use policy, well, then it's kind of like the Wild West. You say, okay, they're going to figure they can do whatever they want to do. And as a business owner, well, no, I don't want my people on Facebook 6 hours out of the day. That's just not acceptable. So you got to kind of at least hammer out the
basics.
The basics.
And then you can update it as their different circumstances
Absolutely.
come about. You can update it.
Same with a vendor. When you're kind of doing that negotiation, there is a back and forth. Mm-hmm. There is okay, yeah, let's do this. Well, I'm not comfortable doing that. Okay, well, then let's do this. And there's a back and forth. But at least when all is said and done, you ought to have some digital, at least, copy of what you've talked about so that you can come back to it and refer to it as time moves on.
With regard to communication, we were talking about this the other day in a meeting about TBBO, because it's getting more and more challenging on how to communicate with the members. You got email, you got phone, you got text, you got Facebook, you got the form, the members forum. And like with email marketing, that's the easiest way to communicate with people, but so many emails are landing in spam. The more you send them, it's hard to get the message out to them. And we're talking about broadcast messages via phone or mass text messages. It's almost and we talked about this as well. It's like some people don't like an email, some people don't like the phone, some people don't like the text. It's almost like now when you take a client in, you got to ask them, what is your preferred method of communication?
Right.
Everyone
you want
has
me
a
to text
preference.
you?
Right.
You want me to send you a message through Facebook? What do you want me to do?
I've got one client that the only way they communicate is through private message on Facebook.
Right.
Now, for me personally, I don't conduct any business on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We have a corporate Facebook page, but we don't do that. That's just not something we do. And it's we've kind of butted heads a couple times. I'm like, look, email me or call me. That's the quickest way. I don't have my Facebook open all the time throughout the day.
Well, and then you have to have the Messenger app.
Right. Exactly. And so that's not what I do because I'm busy working.
But what I'm saying is, it's almost, this needs to be a discussion that you have with clients these days.
Right.
How are we going to communicate?
Right. What's the basic method of communicating?
You got to have that in the database. Don't email this person. Make sure you send him a text.
Yeah.
So it's getting more and more difficult, especially with email marketing. I'm a big email person, but we're having an issue now. So much stuff is just landing in spam. I don't even know what to do with it anymore.
It's very interesting because I did respond to one post on Facebook. It was kind of interesting. They talked about that specifically. This colleague put up there. She said, I'm tired of getting spammed with people getting my email through LinkedIn, and then I'm just getting bombarded with emails. And I said, you have to understand that that's kind of what the purpose of LinkedIn is it's to get yourself out there in the business community. I said, however, whoever is contacting you is not doing it, in an appropriate fashion. We do that, but we email every other week. We do it, 2 times a month. And if they say they want to unsubscribe, it comes off immediately. We never contact them again, and that's the appropriate way to do that. But yeah, you got to make sure that you're doing it.
But I think don't the email services like Yahoo and AOL have like a spam button, and if you press that, it reports to them that, hey, this email person's always sending spam, and then they blacklist you from the entire server altogether.
Well, it isn't necessarily from the server, but it will blacklist you from getting emails sent to them, and so they can kind of take you off that way as well. But if you're getting somebody so exasperated that that's the only way that they can do it, then you're not following the kind of the rules of emailing to people with regards to trying to get business.
But just even within member network, things are going into spam, and people are not. I don't know if it's because of other emails I've sent in the past that are now somehow that server said, oh, that's that one person, let's block him here too. I don't know. I just
not that sophisticated.
We have members that are saying that we're not getting emails. I know I'm sending them. So
yeah, well, maybe worth a discussion to see what works for kind of everybody.
What is controlling that? It's the incoming server of the recipient, not so much the outgoing server of where you're sending the message from, correct?
It's a little bit of both.
It is a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both because if you're sending out and the server that's being used to send out is sending out a lot, then that could be flagged by the internet that it's a spamming
That's
email
why
server.
I change outgoing servers. I have like 3 or 4 different ones that I use, hoping that some get through and some will not.
Right.
Should I just change over to just a basic Gmail address, and is that more reliable these days than something from a GoDaddy like my @TampaBayRadio or my @TampaBayRadio?
Those are supposed to be better, aren't they? When you actually have one that represents your domain.
Branding wise, yes, but
Yes.
I think email marketing wise, no.
Yeah, I would say just the generic Gmail is probably not the way to go. Just because you're right, from a branding perspective, you want to be able to make sure that it's getting out there the appropriate way.
Yeah, email marketing is one area that definitely I'm struggling. I'm hearing it from a lot of people. It's just hard
Right.
to send messages to people, and so that's what we were talking about the other day. I said, well, mass text messaging is getting great results. Plus, it gets much higher open rates.
Right.
But then again, you have to probably go through that initial, hey, quit texting me, and you got to
Right.
have that conversation with people. Can we send you a mass text message as opposed to email? Because even if your email hits everybody's inbox, you're lucky to get a 10% open rate or 15% open
Right.
rate, unless it's a really scrubbed list. And with text, it's like 80 or 90% open rates.
What is a good open rate for the emails?
If you're getting
Well,
over
if it's-
20%,
oh.
you're doing really good.
20% is incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's more like 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you have a very defined, scrubbed list, which would take the average business owner many, 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 many years to build up properly.
That is
Right.
something we both had dilemmas on and have been complaining about that problem
Yeah.
and with emails. What do you use? Do you have a preference or?
We use a platform called Mind Matrix, and so they actually kind of send out the mass stuff for us, and it's on a drip. It's like every other week.
And that's what we need. That's what
Yeah.
we talked about implementing. But it was trying to find the right product to do that.
Yeah.
I want to talk with Nick when we come back from the break about DocuSign, the legalities behind it, and also EchoSign, another alternative as well. Currently talking to Nick Paris, CEO of Alpha Computing Solutions, on this Text Thursdays edition of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews, and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews, and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Minor crash in St. Pete on eastbound 38th Avenue North near 275. Also a crash being cleared in Hillsborough County on southbound US 41 south of Sims Road. Heavy traffic on southbound 275 between Fowler Avenue and Slide. The Veterans Expressway seeing some delays between Van Dyke and Hutchinson. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Dex Imaging. When it comes to digital copiers and printers, nobody performs like Dex. Partner with an office imaging company that puts you first. Visit them at deximaging.com. That's deximaging.com.
Today, mostly sunny with just a slight rain chance, high 86. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Cold front arrives late tomorrow, a high 84.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking to Nick Paris, CEO of Alpha Computing Solutions, and you'll learn more at alphacomputing.com. Now, we're talking earlier about, prepping an employee handbook and, having a contract with your clients upon, the inception of the agreement. What are the legalities behind DocuSign? And then you also noted EchoSign. I mean, is that good enough, or should it be on wet ink too?
No, I think it should be done using DocuSign or EchoSign or some type of digital signing process. The one thing that I really like about those is that it actually gives you kind of a date and time stamp of when it was signed. Because you can say it was signed unless you actually have a notary there. But this actually gives you like a hard stamp that says on 10/4 at 5:30 or whatever that it was signed at that point. And it gives you kind of a digital way of going back. Again, the big reason I like this, again, we talked about this a little bit last time, was the document management portion. If you set up your document management system well, then you should be able to easily go back to that digital signed copy and say, okay, this is when we executed this agreement, or this is when you signed the employee handbook or whatever.
What happens when you can't really verify that it was your signature? When it's a digital signature, it's not you. I actually had trouble with a vendor last year that said I digitally signed for a contract with them for a merchant account, and I did not do it, but they had a digital signature, but it wasn't from me.
Now that's a little bit different issue. That could have been something that your computer might have been taken over, or Do you have other people working with you or for you?
No, because do they track like IP address from where the signature came from? Is that how do
Well,
they determine?
when you set up the software, when you set up DocuSign, it goes through a process of kind of verifying who you are back and forth, and so it should verify that was your computer that actually did the signing.
It probably. I don't think it was through DocuSign. It was probably through another type.
Yeah,
of
because I know
database.
because I have multiple computers, so if I sign a doc on one computer and I open it up in another one, I get the
It tells you
signature cannot be validated
right,
or something.
Right, because it actually goes through that process of going back and forth and making sure that you are who you are.
Now you say we're going to talk. Let's actually move the conversation over to Google Pixel. I saw this the other day on the Google search engine. I didn't know what it was. What is Google Pixel now?
Google has gotten into the phone making business. They have decided they're going to make a phone themselves, and it's called Pixel. And I think it actually came out. I think today it comes out today.
I didn't even realize that. I saw it on the search engine, and so this is looking to compete with the iPhone. Then
it is absolutely looking to compete with the iPhone, which I think is interesting because Microsoft tried to make a phone and wasn't very successful with it, and so they've kind of backed off from doing that, and so now Google is looking to do that as well, and I think it's really interesting. I'm a big proponent of my Microsoft Surface,
right?
And part of the reason for that is, and it's kind of the same with Apple and their products as well, is that you got to believe that if they're doing the operating system and the hardware, they're doing something to make sure that both of those work well together. So while Android is out there for phones, Samsung and things like that, you got to believe that this Google Pixel is going to work better with the Android platform than anything else. One of the other things, it's coming out with the absolute latest version of the Android software, which none of the other phones have right now.
Google is the creator of Android, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So they got the phone, they got the operating system. They're gonna try to make sure that it works well and as best as it possibly can.
This probably isn't great news for Samsung then.
I wouldn't imagine it's great news for
Good
Samsung.
timing, though, for this Pixel, especially
Right.
this issue that
Right.
Samsung's having.
Right,
now.
and that was kind of one of the things that I wondered, if I'm one of the other manufacturers, how am I going to feel about now suddenly the company that's been giving me the operating system to run the phone is now competing with me on building the phone itself. So
Especially if your phones are blowing up.
yeah. Well, and Samsung they completely dropped the Note 7 line. They just said, we give up. We're just not going to produce them anymore, and so they pulled them, and that's it. So,
oh, wow.
So that's the one line that they're getting rid of. But yeah, it's interesting timing to see all that happen.
What was causing those phones to blow? Something with the battery,
It was the battery.
What was happening? Do you have any idea?
From what I understood, it was when it was charging, I think, and it was actually just overheating, and it was getting so hot that it was just melting right there. I remember seeing the one story about the guy on the plane, and it actually melted through the floor of the plane a little bit. And I thought, good God, that's awfully hot.
Wow.
I mean, for that to be happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. They had on the news that you couldn't take it on the plane. Like, I thought that must be really bad when they won't let you fly with a phone.
Yeah. Yeah. With the last flight I took, they actually said you couldn't have it on.
Oh, okay.
And then I heard afterwards, like a week later, they said, yeah, now you can't even bring them on the plane itself. And I thought, well, what if that's your main communication device? I mean, what do? You got to leave it back in Tampa and go somewhere else, and it just didn't make sense. So I'm sure that caused a lot of issue for Samsung, and that's why they pulled it.
We're talking with Brian Kornfeld last week just on apps and technology as well, and BlackBerry came into the discussion, and we found out they're using Android now on the
BlackBerry.
new BlackBerry phones. Not that they're really competing in the marketplace anymore, but they always had their own operating system, though, right? That was what made BlackBerry unique in the beginning, right? Exactly.
And so it's an interesting development that they've kind of decided to almost throw in the towel and decide to get on board with the Android OS. It's just interesting. It's a lot of there's a lot of shakeup in the phone industry, which is kind of good, I guess. But I look at Google and say, well, they're trying to take over everything as they're trying to do with everything else.
Well, Nick Paris, CEO of Alpha Computing Solutions. Real quick, about 30 seconds left. You take care of all things IT. Give a quick pitch of just your services and how you can help people.
Well, we are kind of that one-stop shop for everybody. We offer consulting services as well as design and network services as well, but we also offer email and backup and things of that nature. So we're located here in Tampa. You can get in touch with us at alphacomputing.com, or area code 813-839-7671.
All right, Nick Paris, CEO of Alpha Computing Solutions. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Kelly.
And again, learn more about this program over at TampaBayRadio.com, and please connect with us all across social media. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Bill Meyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Bill Meyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Report is brought to you by the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. When buying a thermometer, trust over 60 published studies supporting the accuracy of the Exergen Temporal Scanner. Your family deserves the best. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. Pick one up at Walmart or other fine retailers today.
1250 winds, weather center forecast, mid-80s for the high today, mostly sunny skies, upper 60s for the low. Chance of rain tomorrow in the forecast, a little cooler, low mid-80s, then sunshine and upper 70s through the weekend. Really nice one coming up. Tonight at 8 o'clock, NLCS Game 5 of the series, Cubs and the Dodgers on Impact Radio 1250 winds.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show now with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Kelly, wrapping up the first full week here on That Business Show. Kelly, what are your thoughts so far? How are you doing over there?
I'm just excited. I made it through the first week of getting up really early in the morning, which I'm not so accustomed to doing, but I'm doing it.
Yes, she's doing great. How does the format of how I kind of structure the show compare to what you were doing on Getting the Edge?
Well, I only did. I was on the air for only an hour. You have 2 hours, and I usually had only one guest for the day or had them all at one time. So it's kind of different style or format where they're each coming in and kind of coming and going, but it's very cool because it gives us an opportunity to have them kind of one-on-one.
So you did a full interview throughout the entire hour with one guest on each one of your programs?
It was either one guest or we had all the guests at one time.
And so now we're cycling through 4 people per show, which kind of makes your head spin sometimes, moving from one topic to the next.
Nice, though. What is nice is, well, we didn't have the staff either on a Sunday to go out and get the guests if they were coming in later, so everyone had to kind of show up at the same time, and then we kind of just ended up putting everybody on the air at the same time too, and it worked well because everybody then kind of collaborated together.
Did you
we couldn't fit everybody in the studio at one time with everyone that comes through here. So.
Did you used to do a pre-show interview with the guests, or did you kind of just meet them when they came into the studio? How did you prep?
I prepped prior to them coming into the show, so we would talk. If there was any information that they wanted to make sure that we covered on the air, then we'd have them send that to us beforehand. Most of our guests were members of the Edge business community organization. So I was pretty familiar with most of them.
Yeah, I used to, when I first started radio, I would write out the entire interview and do the research. When I decided to go to 5 days a week, I was like, all right, that's not possible, because that took me like an hour and a half to do. And I was like, that's just not going to work. I'm going to have to learn how to, I'm going to have to learn how to wing interviews. And that's what I do. A lot of people I meet for the first time when they come into the studio, I know very little about them, and just wing it from there. Luckily, I'm naturally inquisitive, and I have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of different things, and it comes to benefit here on the program.
I feel like we're lucky, even within the TVVO organization and Edge, and we have all these like-minded, great individuals around us, and all these different businesses, and it's so exciting to learn. Even at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's exciting to learn everything about what they do and just more about them, and and continue learning and educate ourselves and the community.
Well, it's always nice to have some help alongside the show, so appreciative to Kelly Wilson, who's been with the program now for just actually a week now. And so if you're tuning into the studio or turning into the program here and wondering who's talking to me, that's Kelly Wilson, founder of the Edge Business Community, Edge Business Magazine, and now changing the name of the show to That Business Show.
Yeah, we've got to work on our logos.
Jamie and Kelly, yes, I know. I got to change all those logos, which are all over the place, by the way.
Yeah, I just wanted to make you do more work, so keep you busy.
Our next guest for the program is Kim Malatesta. She is the Director of Professional Services with JMI Resource. You can learn more about this over at jmiresource.com. So, Kim, welcome to the program today.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, first off, tell us about JMI Resource and what this is.
So JMI Resource, we're a recruiting firm. We've been around in the state of Florida for about 12 years now. And we have two sides of the house at JMI. We have the staffing side of the house, which encompasses more of the hospitality, light industrial, manufacturing recruitment. And then on the professional side of the house, we staff in the areas of healthcare, IT, accounting and finance, and business operations.
Okay. And what is your background in staffing? You've been involved in staffing for I think 20 some years, correct?
Right. And I started when I was 5.
What were you recruiting at 5?
Listen to me. Whenever I talk to people, I say, okay, I'm going to date myself. But yes, I've been doing this a very long time. It's been about 25 years now, and really enjoy what I do because it's really great to be able to work with businesses in the area as well as working with people to find them jobs that fit for what they are looking for. It's very rewarding to be able to do that.
Now, what is the job market like out there right now for just staffing in general? And a lot of times, people have the perception of staffing agencies are, just temporary positions. Do most of the positions lead to full-time employment through JMI Resource? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So when I mentioned the two sides of the house, usually on the staffing side of the house with our light industrial and our hospitality, these are more temporary positions. Some of them will go full-time. On the professional side, the majority of our positions that we fill are for direct placement. So they're full-time positions. We have some that are contract, and those contracts sometimes turn into full-time, but the majority are for full-time positions.
What are some of the opportunities out there in the marketplace? Where are the demands in the industries? You'd mentioned, hospitality. That probably is always in demand. There's a lot of turnover, I believe, in hospitality. But, what are some of the industries where you're seeing some opportunities in demand for general workers?
Well, I will say, hospitality, like you said, this is really hot right now. We are just helping a lot of hotels in the Jacksonville area and in Tampa. We're working with resorts, and we're coming up upon a busy season. So we're going to be filling a lot of positions in the hospitality arena. We also are seeing a big pickup in the warehouse workers. We're looking at machine operators as well as soldering. That's really picking up. And then on the side of the professional, we are looking in healthcare. We're really busy with medical assistants and RNs. So all of this is really picking up at this time of the year.
I remember a few years ago, nursing was in hot demand. Are you still seeing demand in some form of, medical services, nursing assistants, things of that nature?
It is always a hot demand, and I tell people, especially the youth, if you're looking at what you want to do for a career, go down the path, looking at healthcare, because it's not going away. And there are so many opportunities where no matter where you go.
Now, you mentioned the warehouse services. I see you're looking for forklift operators and general laborers. I miss my days of operating a forklift. Maybe I can come over and drive a forklift again for you guys.
Well, we have those opportunities for you. So if you're forklift certified, you need to come on over.
I don't think I was forklift certified. I don't think I was forklift certified. I was 16 years old, and my father put me to work at 84 Lumber, and he told me I wasn't allowed to be on the forklift until I was 18, but I got on it anyways and became pretty good at it. I did run over a guy's foot though one time and caused a lawsuit, but that's that happens. What can you do?
He's dangerous on a forklift.
Yeah, it wasn't really even my fault though. I mean, I was up on the dock. The guy was trying to put some plywood on the back of his truck. I stopped. He stopped, and we kind of had we met eyes, and we kind of.
It was like that Footloose moment.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, all right, I'm stopped.
Rather on the tractors.
I hit the gas, and he went to push the plywood a little bit more onto the truck and pushed out his back leg, and I ran over the back of his foot, and I can remember it too because he was hopping up and down after it did it. I'm sitting there like, honestly, I was trying not to laugh because he was making the funniest sounds and he was bouncing up and down, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to laugh, I don't know what to say. And so it wasn't so bad. It caused a bruise and everything, but the worst thing was I had to go home and tell my dad because my dad was the manager, and it was in the evening. I was like, Dad, I ran over a guy's foot today at the store, the forklift, and he's like,
luckily, hopefully that was back before everyone sued one another, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, he ended up suing, yeah. I mean, he got a settlement. I ended up dealing with the insurance company a year later, getting calls from them and everything. But yeah, those are the younger days when I was working in industry and on a forklift. So I don't know, maybe I just disqualified myself for
I think,
working.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting hired now.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say stick with radio. We don't want to.
So how do employers use your services?
Okay, so this is very interesting, but if you ask many people that work in all types of businesses, the majority of the companies do use a staffing service in one way or another. They all have HR departments, but they don't have the time to really dig deep and search, especially for hard-to-fill positions in their companies. So that's where we enter the picture, and we come in, and whether it be a project, whether it be a direct placement, whether it be a temporary position, they use our services because they know that that's what we're good at, and we know how to find the right person for what they're looking for, and they can focus on their core business, and we come in and help them staff.
I know in my business that's been one of the most difficulties that I've experienced is staffing and training and people coming and going and finding good people. And I think we talked about that earlier in the week that will actually work and don't just want instant gratification. But it's it's time consuming and if you put a post out there, you list for the opening, you might have 100 resumes. Who has time to go through 100 resumes? So I can really see, Kim, where the advantage would be to be with a staffing company to take care of all that.
Now, how do benefits come into play with JMI Resource? Do you offer healthcare plans and different things for the staffing people?
Yes, we do. So that's something not all staffing companies do, but JMI does that. We offer the same insurance benefits that we do for our full-time people. So it's a very great thing for the employees that are coming in that really need it. It's there for them.
Now, how does the liability factor come into play with regard to like HR? I mean, when you're working through a staffing company, can you kind of just fire and hire at will with the different people come in, and you don't have to worry about the different HR regulations as much? They're putting that weight on the staffing company. Explain that to me, if you would.
Right. So it would go on the staffing company. So as we explain to our employees, if you're going to be on contract, we pay you. So you're working for JMI. You are a JMI employee. So we take all of those responsibilities off the plate for the employer. So if somebody is not doing good on their job, all the employer has to do is call us and say, hey, it's not working out. This is why. We do the counseling. We talk to the employee. And if it is a termination, we handle that for them. And
then you become essentially a 1099 contractor then for the employer. Would I then understand that correctly?
Well, we're a staffing company, so we're not really a 1099 employer. We are a separate entity. So we enter into a contract with them, just saying that we're going to do the recruiting for whatever the position is that they have open. And those people are working for us as long as they're on our payroll, and they're just utilizing our services.
Now we're hearing, with the presidential election and everything, and the economy is on the talking points for a lot of people. There's no jobs. What are you seeing out there? You're constantly placing people in and out of different positions. What are you seeing today, maybe versus 10, 15 years ago in the staffing industry?
So, yes, I cannot even understand anybody saying there's no jobs, because we have so many jobs that are open, and they are out there. So it's just finding them. And there are unskilled jobs that are open, and there are very highly skilled jobs that are open. So it's just doing the research and looking. 15 years ago, I mean, I could say that was back maybe in the heyday of staffing. We were very busy. Now it's a little bit more specific, and I think that what I'm noticing the most in the past, it would be send a resume, send the person. And now what it is I need the right fit. I need the right person for my organization. So companies are being a lot more picky about who they're bringing in to their organization.
Is that also holding true with regard to the people that are looking for employment, that they're being more selective, being like, that job's not for me, or I'm not going to do that? Maybe in older workforces, they would just do whatever just because they had to make the ends meet. How would you respond to that?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And in the past, that's what it was. It was just, I need a job, I need to put food on the table, and that's what I'm going to do, and just give me whatever you've got. And now it is on both sides being more picky because the jobs are there. So it's, what are you good at, and what type of environment do you thrive in? And we ask these questions when we're screening our employees, and we go to the company and we look at it and say, okay, we need somebody who's a real extrovert for this. Somebody who's an introvert is never going to work out, or vice versa. And so we're not just looking at a paper resume. We are looking at the individual, and so are the employers.
Now, do you give tips to the people that come through JMI Resource on, interview and resume building skills? What are some of the other services that you provide for people coming through a staffing agency?
We absolutely do that, and we've got some really amazing recruiters on our team. And so we first will bring these employees into us because, of course, we want to meet them before we send them to our client. And we have a very laid-back and casual interview, and in the sense of really getting to know them and then honing in on the types of skills that they have and where they would fit best. And then wherever we're sending them, if they're going for an interview, of course we're going to give them tips on how to interview. But, once you get in front of someone, you've got to be yourself. And the employers are going to see that. So we can help them along the way on questions that may be asked to them, but they've got to come out with and be very genuine, or they're going to be, they'll know it.
Currently on the phone line with Kim Malatesta. She is the Director of Professional Services with JMI Resource. You can learn more about this over at jmiresource.com. Got to take a short commercial break. We'll finish up with her when we come back from the break. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn Apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today. Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Expect some delays on the southbound side of the Veterans Expressway between Hillsborough Avenue and 275. Also, still a bit of a slowdown coming off the Howard Franklin Bridge into Tampa. Crash in Seminole on southbound Seminole Boulevard at 102nd. 2 lanes are blocked here. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Damp Rid.
Damp Rid Moisture Absorber is the all-natural way to absorb excess moisture in closets, bathrooms, and basements, so air is cleaner and drier, clothes smell fresher, and everyone can breathe easier. Damp Rid Moisture Absorber. Find a retailer near you at damprid.com.
Today, mostly sunny with just a slight rain chance, high 86. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Cold front arrives late tomorrow, a high 84.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking to Kim Malatesta, Director of Professional Services with JMI Resource, a staffing company. Learn more at jmiresource.com. So, Kim, for people that are looking for employment out there, is the first step to fill out an application on the website and then you contact them? How does the intake process begin for people looking for employment?
Yes, we do have a website. They can go to it and see what positions we have posted that are open, and they do fill out some information, and then we will get in touch with them. They can also call into our office and schedule an interview to come in. So there are many ways, and we do use a lot of search engines to put our openings out there, so they may see them out on Indeed or Career Builder, and they can apply that way as well.
Now, the first step then would be to interview after that, and then there's a fit for a possible position. You bring them then and interview them, and then they have to go probably through an interview with the employer too. So is it always a double interview process for the position?
Typically it is. Now, in some of the unskilled positions where we have the warehouse workers, they may just come and meet us, and we'll put them right out to the client. They do not have to interview. But if it is a more skilled position, then the employers do want a one-on-one, face-to-face interview. And
do you find that the people that come through JMI Resource, are they comfortable working through a staffing agency? Because there's always this kind of maybe a disconnect between them and the employer, especially if they have, employee staff on the payroll. Do they always kind of want to become an employee of the company too? Or are many of them are comfortable just staying employed through the staffing company?
That's a really good question, and we find that nowadays it's so common to hear the word contractor and that going through a staffing agency, it is very common. But we do get a handful of people that don't want to be working for a staffing company. They want to go straight in, but what they have to understand is the way in is through the staffing company. So once you understand that, it makes it a lot easier. The transition is quite smooth, and it's a great opportunity for them to get in there and see, is this really the right fit for me? Do I like working here? And on the other hand, it's great for the employer. They can try before they buy. And so on both ends, if it works out, then wonderful. If not, move on.
How long before an employer who is going to, who is ultimately looking to place a candidate into the position before they actually move on placing them in the position as an employee? Is it usually a few months, 6 months, a year? What do you see on average when people are in that position?
So on average, it is about 6 months. There are different things worked out in the contract with our customers. If they want to take someone earlier, they absolutely can. But typically the average is about 6 months.
What are you seeing in the differences in people today and how they present themselves at an interview? And in older days, I think people always showed up in a suit and a tie or a nice professional dress if it was a female. How are you seeing people change today, especially with the millennials? Are you seeing a more casual approach to employment and in the interview process or not?
I do, but we highly recommend to anyone, even if we're sending them to a company that is more laid back and casual, and there's a lot of those in the Tampa Bay area, but I highly recommend, first impressions are just so important. And we tell all of our people, when you go for that first interview, you dress for success. You dress, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So make that first impression. If you get the job and they say you can work in shorts and flip-flops, great. But when you go for the interview, we really want them presenting themselves.
Now, when an employer comes to you and you have a certain staff person that you want to place with them, how much information do you have on them? Do you take them through a battery of skills tests, for instance, typing, customer service? Do you have any type of basically a resume and on top of the basic resume that everybody has for themselves?
We do. So we do have this testing, and we talk to our clients about this. Is this needed? So for the job, if Windows is needed, if they need to know Excel really well, computer knowledge, or if they're working in a call center, we have a call center test.
You got a forklift out back that you put people onto?
Now that one we typically need certification.
Right. So what are your, real quick, you've got about a minute left here. So what are your service areas in the Tampa area, or in the Florida area, actually?
So in the Florida area, what's really hot, as I mentioned earlier, hospitality. We're really going to be looking for a lot of people in the hospitality arena coming up here. You need extra Christmas money. We'll be able to provide it for you. So make sure you reach out to us for that. We're looking for solderers. If you have experience in soldering, if you've worked in a warehouse or you've been a machine operator, that's hot right now. And on the professional side, boy, do we need medical assistants, RNs, and medical receptionists. Those are the hot jobs that we've got right now at JMI.
All right, sounds good. Good interview. Kim Malatesta, Director of Professional Services with JMI Resource. Greatly appreciate you checking in to the program on this early Thursday morning.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Kim Malatesta. Learn more at jmiresource.com or give her a call at 813-909-9466. Again, 813-909-9466. Kelly, we got about a minute left. Launch party for the Edge magazine. Let's talk about
our Edge Business magazine, our fall issue is coming out next week. So that is on the 27th, actually the evening before the symposium on the 28th, but that is going to be from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at Irish 31 at West Shore Mall, and we're looking forward to that. You can check out for additional details, edgebusiness.org, and all the event details and magazine details are there.
All right, we'll cover that a little bit more in detail over the coming weeks.
Yeah.
And again, also pick up a ticket to the Business Symposium. Today is the last chance to take advantage of the 2-event for 1 pricing again. So get the invite to the Tampa Club tonight, 6 to 9 p.m. Pick up a ticket over at TampaBayRadio.com. $39 for TBBO members, $59 for non-members.
Yeah, and it's a packed full-day event that is great to attend. So
we'll be back tomorrow.
See you then.